of the American Jewish Committee, David Harris.
Shalom Chaverim. Hello, dear friends. I'm the first person in my entire extended family born in the United States. I learned several things from my late parents, who both survived the Shoah, the Holocaust, and in my mother's case, who survived Stalin's communism as well. I learned the principle of Am Echad. We are one people. We are one people. And no one should ever divide us. I learned, secondly, in the principle of Kol Yisrael Aravim Zeh Bazeh. All Jews are responsible one for the other. The Nazis never distinguished between Jew and Jew, between religious and secular, kippah wearing or not, Zionist or not. How could we? How can we? Third, I learned from my parents, God bless America. The country that became not just their home, but their haven. The country that was their refuge from the demons of the past. They believed in America. I believe in America. They would be spinning in their graves today if they knew the reasons that we were gathered here at Cadman Plaza. And fourth, I learned from my late parents, thank goodness for the rebirth of the State of Israel. For the chance for the Jewish people to chart our own destiny in our ancestral land, Liyotam Chofshi Be'artzenu, to be a free people in our own land. And all of these lessons were reinforced when I met my wife in the 1970s, for she was the victim of another form of Jew hatred. In her native Libya, she became one of those forgotten refugees, the Jews who had lived for centuries and millennia and who were driven out. There is not a single Jew left in Libya today. Ladies and gentlemen, the demons are now back. Make no mistake about it. That's why we gather here. And let's be crystal clear, as we at AJC have been saying since the year 2000. The sources are multiple. For years, first in Europe, where the resurgence began, and now here, the same strategy. We're asking officials to see the problem as it is. Don't pretend it's not there. Devorah Halberstam, whom you heard from a few moments ago, that courageous woman spent years and years and years trying to get our government to redefine the murder of her son Ari, not as an act of road rage, as an act of terrorism. She succeeded, but why did it take up to 8 years? Secondly, don't weaponize anti-Semitism for political advantage. There are those who only want to see it as a white supremacist or white nationalist problem. It is, but not only. Charlottesville, Pittsburgh, Poway prove that it is. Muncie, Jersey City, Brooklyn prove that it's not. Think of that congresswoman from Michigan, the one who tweeted after Jersey City, quote, "White supremacy kills." But when it was revealed that the murderers in Jersey City were motivated by the Black Hebrew movement, it appears, the congresswoman was forced to delete that tweet, but suddenly lost interest in the murderers. That's weaponizing anti-Semitism. Say no! Third, anti-Semitism, this will sound strange to you perhaps, but listen, is not a Jewish problem for Jews to solve. Anti-Semitism is a non-Jewish problem for non-Jews to solve. Let's be clear about that. Of course we need to be involved, all of us, the 5 sponsoring organizations, including AJC. We need to build bridges, and the Brooklyn Bridge was a symbol of what we need to do. We need heightened vigilance, it's true. And speaking of heightened vigilance, how about a shout out for Joseph Gluck of Muncie. Joseph Gluck, the improbable hero in Rabbi Rothenberg's home, who grabbed the table and who attacked the attacker, who drove him out of the house, and who had the presence of mind to capture his license plate number, which led to the NYPD. God bless the NYPD. To arrest him. I met Joseph a few days ago in Muncie. He said he was the unlikeliest of heroes, but that Hashem, God, had led him to his bravery. May Hashem inspire us all to courage and bravery. And we need the power of government mobilized on all levels in a sustained fashion, not episodically, not intermittently, not simply after an event, because we don't yet have a Jonas Salk who has created the vaccination against the world's oldest social pathology, anti-Semitism. We need serious prosecution. Yes. We need what we've now seen in Muncie. No more slaps on the wrist. No more revolving doors for the perpetrators. Yes. In fact, too many victims, we're told, will not even report hate crimes because they don't believe the system will respond. The system must respond, and people must feel confidence in the system to report. And we need zero tolerance from civil society. Shame on 10 million British voters who cast their ballots last month for a party infested with anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. Shame on those politicians who send appeals, overt or subtle, to white nationalism or white supremacy, or who link arms with them politically. Shame on those politicians who avert their eyes while members of their own political party tweet anti-Semitic messages or call for a boycott of Israel, the only Jewish majority nation on earth and the only liberal democracy in the Middle East. And shame on those high schools and colleges, including right here in New York, that have allowed anti-Semitism, however disguised, to infest the classroom and the quad. Shame on those social media companies that have confused freedom of speech with corporate social responsibility. Social media must never become a cesspool for hatred, anti-Semitism, incitement, and recruitment. And lastly, we need to link arms, virtually and realistically, with all people of goodwill here in New York, here in America, and around the world, just as we're doing today, because an assault on any group is an assault on every group. It is an assault on the values that bind us together as Americans. We are all endangered. We are all diminished. We are all at risk if violent hatred, whatever its source, is at work. In closing, the great Martin Luther King said, we must all learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel live.